It's title time once again. We break down 3 championships on this week's episode of the Indie Bar Report podcast. We're back again. It's bonus edition. We're talking ball this time because we don't have to talk about how one team's in danger of relocation. Although we may venture into why Atlantic City should never get a baseball team until they decide to fix their problems.
Yeah, please stop asking about Atlantic City.
I'm going to make a video on
no disrespect to those asking. I'm not saying like
Ryan means
it's a dumb question. Stop asking. I'm saying like I understand why you think that. As somebody who literally walked around the ballpark while talking to somebody who was considering purchasing it and putting an indie ball team there, I can tell you that thing's done. That park is hooked. Sorry, we're already in that now. We didn't mean to do that. I'm passionate about it. Don't get my hopes up. I've seen it with my own eyes.
You know what isn't going to get ruined? Our discussion on the postseason, because we have several series to recap, about 6 of them, and then we got 3 championship series to preview, of which we already have 1 championship game underway. Well, more than underway in the books. So I guess we should jump into these round recaps so that way we can talk about championship season.
Yes, sir.
So I don't really know which league I want to go with first, but I kind of am vibing with the Pioneer League because it has produced some surprisingly great baseball.
Yeah, it's been compelling for sure. So yeah, I can take that trip with you.
All right, let's go that route here. Do you have any sort of partiality to Oakland or Missoula? Because both have a narrative for very different reasons.
Yeah. Oh man. No, I guess I don't have a preference if that's what you're asking. But right, yeah, I wasn't expecting to have to make that decision and be so torn about it.
Why don't we start in Oakland and then we'll go to the Missoula one, because the Oakland conversation I think is a more positive one. And if we're talking ball, we should try to stay positive, right? So we have Oakland, we have Ogden. That is the setup here. 3 games, all played by the Bay. Game 1, it's a 4-2 Oakland victory. Ogden strikes back 2-1 to tie it up. 1 game apiece. We go to a winner-take-all game on Saturday in Oakland, and it's scoreless through 6. We get to 7. It's no longer scoreless. Only 1 run crosses the plate in this one, and it belongs to the Ballers. They take the win. They take the series. They go to the championship game, or they would host the winner of Missoula and Idaho Falls, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, these 3 games here, things that immediately jump out at you.
I mean, Oakland's pitching is diabolical for sure. The offense is mildly concerning. I don't want to get ahead of it, but it's going to be really fascinating to see how that plays now against what's coming to town offensively.
Yeah, definitely there. But I mean, to go ahead and sit down, 13 straight in an elimination game?
Yeah,
that is
huge.
Extremely impressive. No matter where you cut it. I will give Ogden some credit there. They hung in there and they kept that offense in check. I mean, he gave us 6 runs in a Pioneer League series. You would expect to win that thing 9 times out of 10. It's just unfortunate the way that shook out for them.
I can't say enough about Gabe Tanner, dude. Gabe Tanner was crazy for Oakland. I mean, not that Ogden's pitching wasn't, but like just that performance in an elimination game. I mean, damn, Austin Coleman got screwed. No earned. 4 hits, 6 2/3 innings. But yeah, I mean, Gabe Tanner really did that thing. And Connor Sullivan's, as advertised when it's come to this playoff run. So, it is one of those teams, again, we've talked similarly about Southern Maryland in the past, that gives it where it's like you got 7 innings to play ball against us, because once we're into the 7th, maybe even, I guess you have 6 innings almost, like you're going to be very much fighting an uphill battle against Oakland with that bullpen.
I think you said Southern Maryland at first and said Oakland.
Oh, my bad.
The subliminal connection between like these teams can pitch really well and the hitting's deeply concerning.
I did mean Southern Maryland. I did mean Southern Maryland because that is the only other team I really in indie ball, which is typically offensive leaning. Yeah. There were Southern Maryland teams we have seen, especially like 2022 was really in that vein, 2021 also, where like if you didn't have the lead on them by the 7th, you were kind of cooked. And Oakland's definitely bringing that, which is a fascinating thing in the league that has the scoring of the Pioneer. I'm interested to see how this all plays when they leave the friendly confines, though, in the championship.
That is my concern there too, because the first game is going to be in Oakland, or are they getting the home field for 3?
I believe it's 1 and 2 is in Idaho Falls. Yeah.
Okay, well, just gave away the plot there, but
sorry. I mean, relevant.
It is relevant. I think at this point, if you're listening to this show, you know what the result of that series was. Yeah. So my point was though about the home field thing is if you're Oakland, it's a very dangerous spot to be in. Right, either you're going to have 2 games and you have to win both of them at home and then try to just solve one on the road, which is not the worst spot to be in. But if it's going to be 3 at home, if it goes 5, you're really putting yourself up against the wall if you can't at least take one on the road. And realistically, I more and more bought into the saying of you're not in trouble till you lose one at home, because it really does feel that way more often than not, even if it's just anecdotal. I see the logic behind it.
And I feel it even more in indie ball. And I think in all the indie leagues, most specifically in the Pioneer League, where there's such a difference between ballparks that you can really build a team to what you're playing in.
That in a general area as well, too. I mean, if you're, let's just use Frontier as an example here. If you're New York, if you're New Jersey, if you're Sussex, you're probably playing a combination of those ballparks a lot. And then whatever Down East Park is like. But that's where you're going to be primarily playing, with the occasional game going to Tri-City or Quebec or Three River or Ottawa. So in your head, like, okay, like we need guys that can hit in that kind of environment. And the same thing with play Pioneer, where it's like, all right, we're more often than not going to be in like a high altitude environment without a humidor. So we can slack off on some bats here if we got guys with good power numbers.
Yeah. There's also another thing. I don't want to get too far ahead here, but we're going to be looking at some interesting stuff when it comes to travel here that I'm going to be interested to see how it turns out. I don't know what to think about this. I mean, Oakland pitching, I noticed had cooled a bit, and I kind of was like sounding the alarm a little bit among like some people that I talked to who follow Oakland, and it was funny. I had an interaction. I was like, I'd be careful. Like your pitching staff is not what it was. Like this, especially the bullpen, it was like Ray was up like toward 4 or 5, a lot of their key guys. And I was like, you guys need to be like, I wouldn't feel super comfortable about this. And they were like, no, it's fine. And then like a lot of them came back like, okay. Like there was a couple games where it really looked bad, and they were kind of like, yeah, here we go. But man, like they really locked it in, and Ogden is not a slouch offensively. Like they really showed up, man.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the way to start looking at Ogden a little bit here, like they had to battle a lot just to get in here. So the fact they kept it as close as they did, I think, does speak volumes about themselves.
Yeah, I agree. The Ogden team can really collect it and make a run, huh? Like, and I was impressed. Because we've seen Ogden win. I've seen Ogden win, run of the mill 7-4, 6-5 type games. I've seen them win high scoring ones, blowouts, whatever. I really didn't see Ogden do much in low scoring games. The fact that they were able to compete is impressive. The fact that Tat Daddy managing was able to kind of shift gears aggressively into like, all right, like this is a pitcher's duel game. Here's how we're going to handle this. Here's how I'm going to work the pen. It was really good. I was really pleasantly not surprised is an understatement to what I've known Ogden's good for a minute. But I was impressed by the way they rose to the occasion against a team that you would feel on paper is significantly better than them, especially looking at record.
Would you expect anything different from Tat Daddy himself?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I so look forward to getting him on the program this year. I got his phone number too, and I'm meaning to text him, and I haven't done it yet. But now that the season's just about done, I will be doing that, and we will be getting him on this show come hell or high water.
I love that. And something to look forward to, man. It's going to keep me going through a few days here.
When the hour is darkest, just remember Chat Daddy's around the corner.
Sorry, that got me more than I thought it would. And now I'm just having trouble looking or not looking ahead necessarily because I think this is going to be a really, really fascinating series. I'm not saying it's going 5. I'm not saying it's going to be close, but I'm saying it's going to be interesting. I'm going to see what happens here.
All right. Well, then why don't we talk about Missoula and Idaho Falls now, and then we could get into that preview.
Missoula.
Yeah, so Missoula and Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls took game 1, 6-4. Missoula strikes back 16-9, and then game 3 took place on Sunday because everything got delayed. Idaho Falls just waxed
table, dude.
22-6, and even that's a misleading number. Missoula got 3 back in the 9th, but that was, I mean, realistically, all their runs came when it was kind of out of reach. It was what?
They said, "Do you want to see my unregistered firearm?" And then they brought it out in front of everybody. That was crazy.
I mean, it's just a beatdown of beatdowns. I mean, when you're making a 19-zip game at that point, who cares?
There is something that needs to be addressed here. And I don't think it was addressed among Indie Ball discussion. The rain delay in game 1.
Yes.
Major factor in this, in my opinion. Because that rain came, mid-1?
Yeah.
Like after the top of the first. Missoula warmed up and threw Matthew Sox. And then the rain came, or whether I forget already. It's been such a blur, but I'll say I didn't really notice on the feed, but so that comes through, and then Idaho Falls never uses Grosjean, and they're able to bring him out. He throws 7 innings the next day. Missoula has to dip right into another pitcher. They bring Matthew Sox out the next day. And he pitches serviceably, but not the Matthew Sox we've been seeing. He goes 3 1/3. So they end up needing to use across those first 2 games. They end up needing to burn, they use Alfredo Vila. That's, whatever. He goes 4, but then they use, 3 key relievers. And then in game 2, they have to stitch together another 6 innings of relief. Yeah, and then it's less surprising that they absolutely got murked in the last game. Yeah, man, they got screwed. You can point the finger a little bit to be like, that's so tough, though. Because my hyper analysis brain, hindsight 2020 brain, says you got to have a reliever warming up. If you think there's weather looming, you have to have a reliever warming up to start that game and go with an opener and then work backwards. If the rain stays clear, you can use Matthew Sox that way. And he can run the last 5 or 6 innings. If not, you can't burn Matthew Sox now. But it's also a playoff game, and he's your guy. So, you have to throw him. That sucks. They got screwed on that one. I'm not saying that's why this happened. I mean, they gave up a 22 spot in a deciding elimination game.
19 unanswered, mind you.
Yeah, bud. Yeah. Yeah. You can't have it. Yeah. But I do think that's interesting. That's my point being. So that is worth noting that they could argue that was not ideal.
My one thing I would say about that, though, is, and my only counter is, there's nothing saying, right, that you can't just roll Sox the next day. Have him be your game 2.
I agree. But then someone's getting burned.
But wouldn't you rather burn, say, your number 3 arm in the first game?
I'm going to come at this from this angle. I agree with you. I looking back, Matthew Sox should not have been in that game, but it's really hard to account for the fact that you don't know what weather is going to look like. I wish I knew. I don't know who was warming up for Idaho Falls, if they were going Grosjean straight up all the way through, or they were being hesitant. But if you see them throwing their ace, it's really hard in the first playoff game to not throw your guy and trust that this isn't going to become a garbage fire, or at least that you'll get into the game deep enough where maybe if they're throwing their starter too, they'll both get burned. as opposed to, this mess where only one starter got used. I mean, were you saying they can throw him in game 2? Because they did.
I was just saying you could go ahead.
Say only throw him in game 2.
Yeah.
I understand. And again, hindsight 2020. But it's so tough to hold your ace out. And think about how early a decision has to be made too. Because the problem is the warm ups and all that stuff. He's getting ready 45 minutes for first pitch, probably. It's so early. You have to start to make that call. I feel bad for Schlack on this one, is I guess to summarize.
I mean, that still doesn't excuse the offense not showing up at 2 games.
Can't do that. Cannot do that.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, you scored 26 runs of offense. In the Pioneer League, that's probably going to maybe be just enough. But you got in a whole series. Idaho Falls got in nearly 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, they outscored, even in game 1, they outscored you in 1 inning. They put up a 5 spot in the 6th inning of that game, and that kind of went, and then they tacked an insurance run on. You led 4-0 in the first game. Game 2, they did come back from that one, but a lot of that was on the 9 runs they scored in the 6th inning. And then, dude, yeah.
And I think what makes this hard to swallow is just that this has happened in so many years in a row now, where it's become the expected outcome.
Yeah, and literally. I had the meme ready.
And you don't expect it, but you're going up against a team that they live and die by their offense. And you let their pitching take the spotlight.
Yeah, that's bad.
So, and that's no disrespect to Idaho Falls. They showed up and they played when they needed to show up and play. And they're just right in the heat that got them to this point. But to that same extent, it's a team that you probably should beat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it once again feels like a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That's really, because what I want to say is this is what's wrong here. I don't know. Because I can't say it's the construction of this roster. It's a really good roster. If you put Missoula head to head, 1-on-1 against a team and told me to pick them in any game beside Oakland, which is a toss up still in my head, I don't know. It's very rare based on even it would have to be based on the pitching matchup that very day that I would pick against Missoula. It is a well put together. It's because there are teams where you almost point to them with the Moneyball problem of it's a good team for a season, but it's a good team for a game. And that doesn't appear to be the case here.
See, and the thing is, what makes it tough even then is to build this team. You can't even build it with the association in mind, we'll get with Kane County, where you build a team that can win you 7 games. Because as long as you're about 500, you'll get in the postseason.
Right.
That's not the case here, where you need to be good.
And you need to be good enough to rip 5 out of 6 off of a bad team. You can't, I'm talking about the weird pressure of you're going to Grand Junction, you have to win 5 of 6. It's kind of weird, but it's not comfortable. Yeah. 4 out of 2 is not a good series in a lot of these weeks, which is, again, hard to wrap your head around sometimes.
Yeah. It's a wild thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel bad because it's it seemed like this shouldn't end the way it does.
No, every year.
The flip side, of course, to that is bravo, Idaho Falls.
Good Lord. I will toot my own horn here. Want to watch? Because
every night you do it.
Wow. First of all, I have a minstrel for that. Yeah, I have been saying Idaho Falls is a good team. They were in it from the jump. I was really, really impressed with the team they brought this year. First half, they made a good run. They kind of had a weird like stumble toward the end of it, and but they were until like the last couple of weeks they were really in contention for a spot in the second half. You did it, but like it's important to say we knew they were a good team, and the same can be said for Ogden, but we did not expect the level of good team because we can be like, yeah, like they almost got a playoff spot in the first one, and the difference was to like 6-7 games in the first half. In the second half, let's also not pretend they won the half. They still got cooked by 9 games by Oakland and 4 or 5 games by Missoula. Like, the difference is large enough where you have to look at Idaho Falls and go, damn, y'all really did it.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, man.
And that's the thing. It's like they dialed up when they needed to dial up. And like, I want to draw any conclusion with the pitching because like it's one series against a team that hasn't done well in these kind of situations before. But like, if they tighten it up enough, and if you could keep it tight enough, especially when you get 3 games in Oakland,
dude,
that offense can travel. And
I beg to differ. I don't even know how much you need to tighten that pitching up. I think the Chuckers offense is terrifying. And I think we have seen in the Pioneer League what a terrifying offense can do, even against a good pitching staff in Oakland. Like, I think this could be interesting, man.
Right. Do you want to just go to the preview?
Yeah, sure. I will point out, Idaho Falls started the season 15-3. So, like, they struggled in the middle, but bookending like crazy here. Yeah, we can go to the preview. I think, because I'm racking my brain. Here's the biggest issue. They haven't played each other yet.
That's
Oakland
wild.
has had very few. I think it's the second straight time Oakland, by the way, hasn't played the team they're playing the championship.
Like,
I think that's twice in a row.
This is like old school, like
ALNL stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
I know. As much as I hate the way they do their scheduling, I'm like, you have my attention. Okay. Because again, when it comes to previews, it's like we had an idea. Like I had an idea, like Missoula might give Oakland problems because they took at least I saw them take 2 out of 3 once when they play each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing out here, bud. Like, what's the transitive property on that now? We're like, well, Oakland beat this team and they lost to Idaho Falls. So what does that mean? Idaho Falls just beat Missoula. Missoula beat Oakland a month and a half ago. So if so fact, so we're screwed. We don't know, but
there's so many platitudes you could throw out right now. Where it's like you gotta throw the records away.
Has been playing. I mean, they just dropped a 22 spot heater on Missoula. And let's not act like they didn't put up 15 runs the first 2 games as well. And Missoula's pitching staff is nasty. In fact, do I have it? I think I do. I can contextualize just how good that staff was. Let's see if we can get somewhere here. Beyond it, though, I think Idaho Falls offense. I'm looking at what I'm comparing right now. Is similar parks to Idaho Falls, and the only ones really in the same conversation are Missoula and Ogden. And unfortunately, not necessarily, I mean, they're still kind of different. So they're giving up 7 runs a game, in similar ballparks. And that's like all I can go with on that. Idaho Falls hasn't even, and here's where I think it's going to be interesting. Idaho Falls has not traveled to California this year. So is that going to throw things off? I don't know. What the hell? I guess going to kill any sort of could mess up the routine.
I think at this point that's not really.
Yeah, I mean that's really what I've got here. I'm trying to see, and it's so funny because I'm like, well, what ballparks are close to Oakland's in Park Factor? None of them, absolutely none, other than like Yuba, and that they, as I said, they never gone out to California. So I got nothing, man.
I mean, realistically, the way I at least look at this is it's going to come down to can Oakland's offense either rediscover itself or do enough to support their pitching staff to try to neutralize what Idaho Falls is going to do. I feel like you walk in there going, okay, they're going to tag us for a lot. Like you open the door going, all right, they just got 37 runs. And that last series, they're going to average about, what's that, 12 a game or so. We could probably keep that number to around 8 a game or so. So your magic number is 9. you can get to 9 or so a game, you probably can win the series. That being said, 9's a lot of runs to get, especially if you're playing in a ballpark that's maybe not the most like conductive to offense. I think what's more curious to me is how, if you're Aaron Miles, you manage this. Do you say, all right, we want to throw our big guns out there in either game 1 or 2 to try and steal that one on the road and then trust that our depth pieces can win us the games at home? Or do you hold them in reserve and say, hey, home field means something for a reason. If you win them all at home, then it doesn't matter what you do on the road, and you hold them back for if it's bad, we have our ripcord situation. I don't love that as the option. I think you go out there and you try to win, say, game 1 or 2. I think you make the decision if game 1 is winnable or not by the 4th or 5th inning. And it is that you go for it. And if you say it's not, or it's going to be tough for it to be winnable, you hold them back and then throw everything at game 2 and use that day off for all it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let the big dogs eat. You got to let your guys throw, and then you can make a call from there. Are we going to burn pitchers? Are we not? And that doesn't even be for the game, because there's, as we've seen in games in Idaho Falls, it is not over. So, keep the boys there's a mentality thing too, is there will need to be a mentality shift from an offensive perspective, at least in my opinion, for Oakland, where if they go down 4 or 5 runs, like there's a way you start hitting when it's 4 or 5 runs, like where you are, or just focus on base runners. That's not a bad idea, but also like you can kind of get away. Like 4 or 5 runs is not the same in Idaho Falls as in Oakland. So they need to be very thoughtful about what each at bat looks like, considering that difference, and not to overreact to it. But literally, we are going from the second lowest park factor, in fact, the second lowest park factor in all of Indie Ball, because of the fact that it's compared to other Pioneer League teams, to one of, I think, the second or third highest in all of Indie Ball. And again, that's comparing Idaho Falls to other Pioneer League teams as well. So yeah, it's a huge difference. The park factor in Idaho Falls kind of makes Coors Light vibes, Coors Field look like a joke.
I feel like that's what it's going to really come down to. It's just that matchup there. How are they going to go ahead and roll that? And I don't really know. That's the part. Like, there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat.
Yeah. Just pulling. I'm trying to see if there's anything here that gives us more of an inkling, but I think we're gonna struggle for it. I think I'll just. So I can
I was gonna say, why don't you go to parting thoughts, because we do have 2 other leagues to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we'll have to push through a little bit here, but we also went a little bit longer than Pioneer, because we didn't get a chance to talk about them in the first round. Parting thoughts, man. I'm just looking at it's the Pioneer League, and Idaho Falls still bringing the best offense. And yes, the park factor is crazy, but like it's crazy kind of everywhere. So there is all that, except for Oakland. So enjoy that. No, I think we're going off nothing. I think Idaho Falls does it because it's the Pioneer League. Like literally, I hate to be that guy, but that's like, why would it not happen? Essentially. Okay, the average, good Lord. The average game in Idaho Falls this year had 19.5 runs scored.
See, here's the thing.
What are we doing?
My parting thought on this is simply, like, Idaho Falls is the most Pioneer League outcome. I'm still going to go with Oakland. I think they're the better overall team, and I know that could very well bite me in the
Pioneer
ass.
League does not care.
I know it could very well bite me in the ass, but I bet on them from the beginning. I'm going to keep that bet riding, and I hope it won't bite me in the ass.
The only normal champion I feel like I've seen since I started covering the Pioneer League, so what, 3 years, 4 years now?
Well, we both covered at the same time.
Yuba last year.
Even then, they weren't that normal.
And that took Oakland and Missoula losing in the first round. Like,
well, to be fair, Yuba had a hand in that.
Yeah, I know. But like, you know what I mean? Like, even then, their championship ended up being like the first round because of the way that's situated. And then they still had to walk off the championship game. Like, nothing is normal in the Pioneer League playoffs. Slog toward rigor mortis, my friend.
Really? Frontier League. We'll work our way that way.
Idaho Falls in 5.
All right. Keep me Oakland 5.
Yeah, I think they're going to split up. Do you think they're going to split Idaho Falls? What's your thought on that? Sorry, that's the one I'm curious about.
I'll put it like this: if they don't split, then Idaho Falls is going to win it. They're going to take at least one in Oakland.
And I think we also need to point out Oakland. Yes, they're not in a high altitude. Their ballpark is small, dude. Like, that could get a little out of hand. Like, if Idaho Falls finds power there, like, this really could spiral. And that's all I'm saying. You know, Idaho Falls, Ogden was a mid-tier. I mean, Idaho Falls hit 40 more home runs. So, like, a half home run per game this year, more than Ogden. Actually, 46 more. So, yeah. About a half home run per game more than Ogden. They slugged 570. Ogden slugged 516. This is a different team showing up to that ballpark in Oakland. Like, I would caution Oakland to do all they can to keep that ball on the ground. Oakland does have the second best ground ball rate in the league. Idaho Falls is giving up the second most fly balls. The Oakland dudes can bang. Like, there's a chance that Idaho Falls pitching staff gets in Oakland and gets fucking murdered. Like, that might be enough to make me flip my thought. Like, flip my prediction, honestly. Give me Oakland in 5. It might be 4. That's how much I think that matters.
Are we ready to move on now?
Oakland in 4. I'm giving Oakland a 4. Fully flipping from Oakland in 4.
Are we ready to move on now?
Yes, I am. Sorry, that is the most interesting indie ball series I've seen maybe several years.
Looking Frontier League. Mm-hmm. We had Schaumburg and Gateway. We had Tri-City and Quebec. Quicker series to get through is Schaumburg Gateway. We'll go there. Schaumburg beat the shit out of them. I mean, there's no real way to sugarcoat this. They outscored 24-8, including a 9-zip shutout in game 2. Gateway showed some fight in game number 3, a 4-2 loss, but ultimately, the Grizzlies were overmatched, now classed by the Boomers in this one.
Yeah, Schaumburg on Schaumburg, huh? We kind of felt like this might happen, and we were like, maybe, who knows? And then, by God, did it.
Because the ultimate thing here is, and the thing that we were afraid of occurring that would make this a boring series that ultimately did, is Gateway's a streaky team that needs to be hot to do something.
Yeah.
And so if they're not, then they're not that great. It's when they're hot that you're like, oh, wow, this is a team that can hit and pitch pretty decently. They're dangerous. And then they just didn't show. They no-showed this. And I know people are going to push back and go, well, it was 11-6 and it was a fairly close game. The first one, there's like, it's not entirely. But no, this is a no-show job.
I mean, there was an angle where this could have worked. And Schaumburg basically killed every angle there was, I felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we're like, well, if this goes right or that goes right. And it was just like, and it was like, and it was just Schaumburg just easing the pillow over the face. It was like, no, we're not going to do all that. Like, yeah, no, we know your offense. We're also going to beat you 4-2 in this game. Like, oh, all right, got it.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you look at each of these games, like, game 3 is the one that's interesting to look at, but like,
yeah.
Gateway's lead in this series was the top half of the first inning when they were up 2-zip, and then Schaumburg put an end to that by going up 4 and never looking back.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time they start getting those runs back in the 7th, we're walking into an 8-3 game, and every time Gateway got a run, Schaumburg would get a run.
Wow. Back. Yeah, so, you're right.
Literally,
other than top of the first in game 1, Gateway never had the lead.
Yeah. So, you know.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah. It's a suffocation job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you could argue, I guess, that, oh, well, game 3 was kind of close because it was a 1-run game. But it's like, yeah, and what happened here? Like, your best pitcher still got hit for 4.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't much to really lean on. Like, I felt like everything that could go wrong kind of went wrong.
Yeah, and that Buddy Pindell acquisition really paying
is unbelievable right now. Yeah.
He's just he is so happy he got to play for a team that's playing for something right now that he's just going out, he's torturing people.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to like the end, it's all the way through August. He's just been tossing innings, huh? Yeah, Pindell's been an awesome addition. But still, I mean, let's also look at this. I'm trying to gauge, this is what my problem is with a series like this. I'm trying to gauge how impressive was this? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That feels a little stupid.
I see, because like we walked in saying like, if Gateway does not do these critical things, it's going to be an ass kicking because, we saw that. And they didn't do each of those critical things, and it was an ass kicking. The pitching didn't show up except for when they had the Feinberg start. The offense didn't show up point blank. 8 runs in a 3-game set is not showing up, especially when 6 of them come in one game and 3 of the 8 runs came when this thing was out of reach. So realistically, what is that? 5 meaningful runs that were scored in this series?
Yeah, you can't have a 14-inning stretch in the middle of the 3-game set where you just don't score.
Yeah, like it's just not how this is gonna work. So,
and a lot of it was, there was also some weirdness with, like, they not timely hitting, and this is where it's on me, because sometimes when there's a lot of playoff games going on and I'm bouncing around a lot, I lose a bit of the plot until I like look back and look at the box scores and all that. It didn't click with me at the time that I was seeing this, but it did seem like the situational hitting might have gone away. I'd have to go back and really look, but like, I mean, because 11 hits in game 3, I mean, we're looking at 17 hits and 2 runs in the last 2 games of the series. Like, if you look at it, I mean, Holt goes 4 for 5. Alvarez picks up a couple. Smith picks up a couple. But, like, you do have an 0 for 5 from Castillo in the middle of that game 3, like, from Victor Castillo. Like, you can't have that. Victor Castillo went 0 for 4 the game before that as well. So, it's the guys that you need falling through. And some of the guys really stepped up, but it was like they couldn't pick each other up. And I don't know if that's Schaumburg locking it down or them just not doing a good job of situational hitting. As I said, I kind of have to revisit that. I wish I did, but I feel like I see all the games, like, cause I'm checking around, scrolling them all and like going back and watching. But then I step here and I'm like, what? Did they have situational hitting? Did I witness that happening? So I apologize that I'm a little scattered when trying to cover 3 playoffs. Sorry.
You should apologize for that.
I know, I'm making a mockery of this podcast.
Really? Institution.
The hallowed halls of Indie Ball Report. Yeah, man. Now Schaumburg's going to have to line up their pitching too. So that hurts.
Yeah, and they're going to need it because we're looking Tri-City, Quebec next here. I really want to say this could have been interesting. And like Tri-City at home kept it close.
Yes.
They lost game 1 4-2, but close game there. Then they won game 2 via walk-off 7-6. And at this point where I said this is either going to be the moment where Quebec falters and Tri-City uses this to propel themselves over the finish line, or the moment where Quebec's pissed off and beats the living hell out of them in the next 2 games. And it was the latter because they came out in game 3 and won 17-2. And they came out in game number 4 and
they did spot them in that lead.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm about to say is Quebec was not great out of the gate. They fell down big early, 5-run hole. And then in the bottom of the 3rd, said, oh, wait, this is a mistake. How could we allow this to occur? And got 6 and went on to score 10 unanswered runs over the next few innings to finish the job. So
yeah, they had to play from behind in the last 3 games of the series. So there was some weaknesses shown there by Quebec. And I believe if we go back to the series before that, they also had to do it a couple times as well. So
yes,
there's opportunity here if you are a certain Schaumburg team attempting to upset our Quebecois friends.
Yes.
However,
yes.
Quebec is very good, man. I mean, boy, is there a team that locks in and handles business quite like them?
I mean, that's the thing here, right? Like, full props to Tri-City. They did a lot better than I was expecting to do this year, period. Yes. And they showed up, Greg Taggart showing that he is, in fact, not washed, despite allegations of being washed.
Greg Taggart does remain him. Yes.
Yes. Which is very surprising coming up with that Winnipeg here. But ultimately, he still has it, and he did very well. Very well. So, full marks there. But that, of course, being said, it's the problem with Quebec always is it's hard to match their guns, because where most teams have like 3 or 4 guys where you go, all right, I'm confident that they could get the big hit. Quebec has about 7. And that's the kind of depth you just can't beat out here. And you look objectively at their numbers and you go, these are not overly impressive. Like, you look at this lineup and you go, like, generally speaking, like, Curion isn't that great of a guy. LeBrew isn't that great. And then you start piecing it all together and you're just like, oh, no way, Curion does normally have like 2 really huge hits in the postseason. And LeBrew is always good for getting on base when it matters. And Gideon seems to have a clutch gene in him. Kyle Crawl's on just a heater right now. Valentine's pretty damn good too. Cash's pretty damn good. And so now you're starting to go through and you're like, oh, okay, so there's like 4 guys there that I didn't name. And of those 4, another one of them is currently hitting about 800. So it's like, oh, okay. So it's the catcher spot, a slumping left fielder, and then like David Mendham, who normally middle infield, right?
Yeah.
So again, like, you get what you get from that spot. So 2/3 of this lineup can just torch you at any moment, which is how it goes from not even just necessarily getting the big hit when it matters, but just racking together meaningful at bats, one after another, after another, after another, after another, and it just wears you down, and then you can't catch back up. And that's really the key to beating Quebec, is when they give you that sliver in, you have to pound them then. You have to break it open, because if you don't, all you're going to do is snap them back in, and then it's that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned LeBrew. I mean, it kind of drives home your point, I think, in a way, because he had a terrible series. I mean, I think 2 walks and a 2 for 16, something like that.
Yeah.
But everyone around him kind of picked them up, and that's sort of the danger of such a solid lineup. What we're looking at, I mean, I feel like they were working pitching stats pretty well. That's, again, though, I'm checking my own self. I'm like, did I just get that vibe from my like watch through of the game, or was that actually happening? I think it was. And I do think it's part of the thing is Quebec does tend to keep a good awareness of situational hitting. And you'll see that typically you don't find guys going up there in a situation where moving the runner is going to be smart. And here they are just swinging down their shoes for no reason, unless it's a guy who legitimately could be parking one in the lot. And I think, they minimize dumb outs. And also is something that became a recurring theme, I think, throughout the playoffs for Quebec, is they punish the hell out of an error. I mean, if you give them extra outs, they're just going to jump all over you. And that furthers the importance of putting together a solid defense as well, and some experienced guys who are comfortable out in the field and can move around and be positionally flexible as well, because it pays off when you're getting the late game and you need to get creative with who's out there and where, to not have a guy who's going to give Quebec an extra out, because they will absolutely make you pay.
And that's part of what gets to you too, is that like, oh, I made a mistake. Now we're in a tougher spot, and now you're pressing. It's a certain element to it. And like, to what degree it exists in the clubhouse, I don't know. But I have to feel like if you walk in here, especially in a series like Tri-City, where you've played these guys, you know what their deal is. You know what your margin of error is and how slim it is, that like, you can really start to feel like you're drowning quickly, even if the water isn't that deep.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, and it just never felt like they were in deep water, right?
Yeah. Like the opportunity there was that game 4 start. Like,
yes.
If you turn that one around and the inning doesn't go the way it does, third inning, that is, then maybe you have a different outcome, right? Maybe now we're looking at it going, oh, okay, I see how it is. And you're able to win that game and set up a game 5 where, now it's chips on the table. Now, again, still, I will continue to say it until it's not true. You're an idiot to bet against Quebec because it's Quebec. This is what they do. Schaumburg knows this firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
This is revenger's repeat, Yeah. I just don't know what more you could do if you're Tri-City. You put up offense, right? Like you put up 9, 11,
never forget.
14. I was going to say, never forget. But, so you have 11, 16 runs. The issue is, of course, you gave up 37 runs.
Right.
But even taking that third game out of the equation, still, you have a 5-run game, a 2-run game, and a 1-run game. Because those are, like, 5-run a little bit, but those are close enough. It's just, they're tough. And I guess to transition to talking about this series now to keep it moving. But it's going to be very interesting here because you have 2 teams here that are just tremendous offensively and 2 that are really good pitching wise too. Like just looking at a couple comparison playoff numbers here. On base, Quebec's at 400, Schaumburg 447. Total runs, Quebec 52, Schaumburg 38. Total bases, Schaumburg 99 to Quebec's 93. They're within 8/100ths per ERA. Opponent batting average, Quebec got them by about 27 points, and the whip is 4/100ths. Favoring Schaumburg. Both are basically 1.
I don't even know what that tells us. Once again, another one of these.
Yeah. I mean, like, you could argue Schaumburg had a more difficult path because they had to go through Lake Erie Gateway versus New York and Tri-City. You could argue it. I mean, like, I guess if you're saying Schaumburg could do it, the argument for that is Quebec has left open more doors than they have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And while they've responded to those challenges, if you believe Schaumburg's a better team, at least offensively, to take advantage of those, then that's a much different situation now.
Right.
Because you could blow those open and with the opportunity to rest all your pitching so they'll all be at 100% come Tuesday. And you have your pitching lined up and we're going to have Cole Cook to Buddy Pindell in games 1, 2. And then I have to go and check what the game 3 matchup is quickly. But either way, that's a great way to start things in Quebec because that's where it's going to be first 2 before you go home for 3. And it's going to be Sakura versus Salada in that game 3 matchup. So a bit more even there. But still, it is... If you're Schaumburg, that's your opportunity, right? You have your best 2 going. And if you say we can take advantage of one of these mistakes, split it in Quebec, which is ideally the best case you're going to get.
Right.
And then say we can win the majority of the games that we play at home. That's really your pathway there. I don't obviously if you're in the room, you believe you can sweep them because if you're not believing that, then what
are we doing here? Exactly.
You've already lost. But objectively, standing up the side here, it's going to be 5 games if you're going to win this. There's not a scenario from which you win this in less than 5. I suppose unless you say you take both at home, which would be a tremendous outcome if you're Schaumburg. At that point, you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
I just don't see any world where Quebec loses both on the road, or both at home, rather. So there is that. Obviously, the flip side for Quebec is, I mean, you're Quebec. You've said this so many times. You know the deal here. And as long as you just don't give up the beginning, you feel good in your pitching matchups. And like, I would assume that what would it be? If you're willing to roll a short day's rest, then you could, in theory, run Alleman out there. Game 1, game 4. And then again go Duncan game 2, game 5.
Not wrong.
It is something that...
Which Greg Duncan's still crazy story. I cannot believe he's doing what he's doing. Yeah, different thing entirely. We'll have to do a deep dive into that later.
Yeah. But that's the question mark you're going to have here. And I think the answer to whether or not you do that is, where are you looking at things standing in game 4? If you're up, then there's no reason to do that. You go ahead, you say, all right, we'll hold them back. We'll go Alleman in game 5. You have the pitcher of the year here. You roll them in game 5, and then is what it is. I mean, I would assume if you get to a game 5 situation, it's all hands on deck anyway. So unless someone threw a stupid amount the day before, everyone's available. But yeah, if you're Quebec, though, that's really the situation, though, is you feel good that your best pitchers can win both games at home, and that the rest of the way, you just got to win one.
Right. And something to watch is, I mean, I do think we could be testing depth a little bit here. I was just looking into some weird stuff talking about, the way guys are handling at bat to a bat. And the first thing I looked at was Quebec, because they're the one I really got a feel that they were seeing a lot of pitches. And when we're talking about, a series and the sheer benefit of getting a guy out of the game early and digging into a team's bullpen, and how that can win you tomorrow's game as well. I mean, they saw on average from starting pitching in the first game, Quebec saw 20 pitches per inning from these pitchers, which, normally you'd see maybe 15-ish. I mean, if you think about it, that's the difference between forcing a hard decision for a manager in the 4th inning or like into the 5th or 6th. So that's big. But, and I was also like, okay, so how many is that per plate appearance? That's 4+ pitches per plate appearance, which is, that would lead Major League Baseball over the course of a season. But then I was like, well, let's see what Schaumburg's doing, to be fair. They saw more pitches per at-bat than Quebec did in their most recent round. So I think both teams are also doing what they need to do with their approach to understand there's times when it's smart to work and make a guy throw and make him come to you, especially if you can get a little bit of an advantage here. I also think both pitching staffs have the ability to attack a hitter, perhaps better than I think Gateway or Tri-City's pitching staff's good. So there's a lot of offsetting things here, which I think are really interesting. I think it's going to be a test of some really good approaches. I think Quebec does a very impressive job with like thoughtful, methodical approaches to the plate. Schaumburg, I get less so, but Schaumburg's so explosive that I think can kind of get away with it. But yeah, when it comes to the pitching matchups, it's so funny to hear you talk about pitching matchups so much when you are typically, and some call you out if this thing gets fascinating, it's like you're a person who typically says, don't talk to me about the pitching. That's like in any ball, it's going to be hitting the offense that leads the way.
Yeah. I still to a degree believe in that, but I do think that
I'm struggling to pair these two apart is my thing. And that's why I keep going to pitching.
Yeah. Like the part where I come back to is like, I still do fully believe in you'd rather have batting over pitching, but like they're so dead even here that like, the
X factor will probably come down to some sort of pitching.
Yeah. Like that's the fluke thing here, because if one person has a bad start or opens the door there, then, that's really what could swing a game here. Schaumburg's also undefeated. That's like the fewest innings. So there's the least amount of wear and tear on everybody here. And
and they're coming in fresh with that extra day.
Yeah. And like, for as much as I was hyping up Quebec's lineup too, you look at how they've done so far in the postseason. The Boomers have all but 3 are really hitting him. Even two of the guys aren't hitting him. Fitzgerald and Podcool Huckle hit a walk-off shot to walk off Lake Erie, and Fitzgerald still got some power.
Yeah.
2 home runs in 5 games. I mean,
not a lot of comfortable at bats when you work through that order.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there's some pressure that's going to be applied there. Obviously, Calarco is the, big threat there. He's an MVP for a reason, and he's got 8 RBIs so far too. So, I mean, that's all existing there. I would say 38 strikeouts as a lineup in 5 games is a little bit excessive. I mean, was that coming in at about 7 a game, a little over? So, that is kind of concerning. But I mean, before I say that, I try to look to see what Quebec's rocking in that regard. 35-6, so better.
Yeah.
It's more walks and strikeouts, actually. I mean, like, that's really what I mean. I don't want to spend any more time on it because I do want to get to the association and not have to shortchange them. So, I guess I'll wrap with this. I'm going to stand firm with you're an idiot to bet against Quebec until they actually make you wrong. Quebec, how many games? Because I can see it going 5, I can see it going 4. I'm going to go Quebec in 4.
Interesting.
I think, because my thought process here is I don't see them losing at home. And so at that point, how many games when your ass is against the wall can you pull out? And I feel like it could very well be a situation like last year with Washington, where we were like, it's not totally sold here. And we had a whole debate about pitching matchups, I believe, generally centering around DiFilario. And then none of that mattered, and Quebec steamrolled, and then that was that.
Yeah. Kind of leaning that exact same way as well, but I'm trying to sort of see if there's an early win in a series would change. I would want to say it wouldn't change a lot, but we've seen Quebec lose an early game in a series, and they don't care. It's bizarre. They're like, you still got to do it 2 more times, but we budgeted for that. Like, I'm sorry, come again?
Yes, please.
I look at little things like we saw how aggressively Quebec cashed in on errors from Tri-City. The judgment call around errors being what it is, whatever, but it is worth noting Tri-City had entered the playoffs, giving up by far the least unearned runs of any team, and Quebec still punished them. Schaumburg is middle of the pack at best, I'd say, when it comes to unearned runs throughout the season. They were giving up one almost, I'd say they were giving up about 1 every game and a third. Every 12 innings, they're giving up an unearned run.
Yeah.
It does not bode well, considering what we have pointed out many times throughout this playoffs already that Quebec does to you. And again, in a series where this could be tight, I think that could be a problem. We keep running into this issue as well. And I'm going to land the plane here, which is you and I mentioned it pre-pod, talking about Sioux Falls versus King County. I think there's something to be said for having done it before. And I think part of what's enabling this ongoing streak with Quebec is they keep making it back, and there's always somebody different. It's always a team that hasn't necessarily been there, at least not like the year before or whatever. It's not like we were all just here. Coaching staff was just here. Manager, players all just did this before. What do we learn? Let's apply it. It's always a new team, it feels like. And, Schaumburg's been there, but like so many different faces. They look really comfortable so far on this run, but I think part of the run is they haven't necessarily been challenged. They haven't been forced into late game chess. They haven't been forced into high stress at bats, inning after inning after inning in the same way. And it just seems like something that Quebec is not fazed by. They did lose the one close game on a walk-off, but that was kind of a weird vibe last series. I gotta go Quebec. I'm also going to give it to them in 4.
Like, 'cause it just feels like that's how this goes. Because we've seen this before.
We have seen the movie before. Yes.
And there's only so many times you can Lucy with the football before you start saying, maybe Charlie Brown doesn't get to kick it.
Yeah, maybe this is just the world we live in. Maybe this is just maybe it's Canada's national pastime. What are we doing?
We get the Stanley Cup. They get whatever we call the Frontier League trophy.
Yeah. I mean, Schaumburg should get something, even if they lose this. Because I'm also looking at it. Is Schaumburg much better than Washington was last year? Washington had the best pitching in the league and some of the best hitting in the league. Schaumburg has probably the best hitting in the league and mid-pack, well below average pitching.
Mm-hmm.
That's over the course of the season, so it's not necessarily right in this moment. But, like, do I think Schaumburg is better than the Washington team that Quebec managed to get by last year? No. So I gotta go with Quebec again.
Yeah.
As much as it kills me to do so. Why do they make me do this again? And cueing my inner Dan Carlin again and again and again and again.
It would kill me if they weren't like so professionally ran. And in an age where like there's so much garbage ownership out here, I don't hate seeing good franchises be rewarded. Now, of course, if Schaumburg were to win, a good franchise would be rewarded too. But like, which is kind of fun how like we look across the board and like in each of these championships, the majority, if not all, are good.
Yeah. All compelling matchups, all good organizations involved. The strangest is I'm just going back through the recent run of championships from Schaumburg or from Quebec. I mean, this Schaumburg team, I don't think is as good as, or no, they're better than the team that Quebec beat the first year. But then they got, honestly, the biggest challenge for them in these championship series has been Evansville. I didn't think Evansville was that freaking good. I mean, they got their doors blown off the next season. Like, so who knows? I don't know. But because it does seem like the team that pushed them the furthest was probably the worst team they played in the three championships. So
American Association now. Quickly looking at the second round here. Both series went 5. Both kind of similar patterns. Chicago, Kane County. Kane County 10-3. Then Chicago 5-3. Then Kane County 9-4. Then Chicago 5-3. And then Kane County decisively won game 5. Kind of funny how the pattern there on those games in the scoring.
Yeah, I'm in the weeds on win probability as playoff series goes. And you would think it's a momentum play. Like if a team wins is 5-game series, if I win game 1 and 2, you win game 3 and 4, you would think momentum on your side. But in baseball in particular, it isn't like that. Though you tend to have you pulled everything out to get to survive the first couple games with your back against the wall. And usually because it's not just like an NBA team where you're rolling the ball out there for the same 5 guys over and over. You've got to dig into your bullpen time after time. You're actually at a bigger disadvantage and more likely to have a massive collapse in that last one. And I think that explains perhaps Sioux Falls and King County absolutely lighting up Fargo and Sioux Falls that last game. Or Fargo and Chicago in that last game.
Yeah, I more or less just meant that it's kind of funny that Kane County both won, 10-3, and then Chicago's 2 wins were both 5-3.
Oh, see, I was dug into the fact that it was, wow, tight series going to game 5, and then both game 5s were a murder.
I just thought it was fun score economy.
Okay, whatever. Don't get me in the weeds. Don't do this.
I mean,
sorry, we're on different pages, and I was excited because I love the weird ebb and flow of baseball playoffs. It's all right. Whatever. I hate it here.
But yeah, so looking at the Kane County series there, that's the thing. Like, I look at the Kane County team and like, there's not that many overly impressive batters in this lineup, but the ones that do their job, just do their job, right? Yep. D'Alessandro providing phenomenal value from the catcher position right now. Todd Lott just killing it.
Todd freaking Lott, dude.
And the ageless wonder Josh Allen stepping up and performing no matter what. Also,
Todd.
Yeah, Armanov also shout out for not striking out at all and just doing his job.
Yeah.
Respect there.
I mean, also, over 3 night, no Ks though. Still gotta walk.
Make it count.
Man, yeah.
I'm the one
there's a lot they got cooking. I mean, this is a weird one where I'm equally impressed and also unimpressed by both teams. Like, I'm really impressed this is going well. It's a cohesive unit. It's looking good. Also, there's a lot of reasons this team should not be here. And here we are.
Yeah, Sioux Falls and Fargo matchup really quickly. 2-1 Fargo took game 1. Sioux City or Sioux Falls. Falls never responds. I'm just going to go Falls.
Let's going Canaries.
Yeah.
Let's go Canaries.
Tweet.
What are the odds of two teams being right for Canaries anyway?
Then Falls responds back with a 9-2 victory and then an 8-7 victory. I believe the 8-7 one came in extra innings. And then Fargo stays alive 4-1 before the Canaries just wax them 11-2 in game 5. So kind of a similar pattern of a couple close competitive games. Really, it's like 3 close competitive games, a little tighter series. And then 2 that was just blow the doors off.
Yeah, I mean, we had a walk-off win in game 1. We had a blowout in game 2. We had extra innings in game 3. We had extra innings in game 4. Pretty good. I just noticed this, and I again, it's the things I missed from watching a lot of games. Game 1 under protest. First of all, American Association, we're still protesting games? You dog. I love you. I love a protested game, my friends. I'm going to have to do a deep dive on what the hell that was. Because a protest game is fun, and MLB is no fun, which is why they took it away from us. Don't get me on that soapbox. Yeah, I mean, Sioux Falls, if you told me that 3 games were very close and 2 games were blowouts and I had to pick which team had the blowouts, I would have said Sioux Falls. Just that offense is explosive in a way that Fargo doesn't really have, and they really haven't had throughout the year. That was my main concern for them going into this series, and lo and behold, it was an issue. I don't think this is the best version of a Fargo team we've seen or will see, frankly. I think this is a nice little bounce back year and what will be a longer thing. So it's the positive to take from that. But yeah, I think, I mean, this was the best offense in the league going against a below average offense. And it kind of showed when it really came down to it. That's no disrespect to Fargo, but it was just Sioux Falls. I think they were outmatched by them. Anything stand out
on the pitching side too, where they were able to get by or not.
Yeah. It was good, sort of complete work by the whole staff there. Big clutch first start from Brown on that one in game 1. That was really cool. Solter 7 shutty in the second game. That kind of really let them run away with that one. And then Ty Dormy outpitched. I mean, Dykhoff had an awful start in game 3. That was crushing, I think, for Fargo. He gutted through 7 innings, which is good. I mean, he gave up 7 in the first 3 innings and then settled in and gutted it out. But yeah, they needed something from him to kick it off right the first 3 games in Sioux Falls to get him going like that. And just, that's a letdown. Zimmerman, outdueled Jandra. Zimmerman continues that bounce back. He went 6 2/3. And then, Brown back again, bookending the series, and it made Fargo look bad in that last game. So yeah, I mean, the pitching was as impressive as the hitting. And frankly, if you put me on the spot to make a pick in this one before game 1, I might have said Sioux Falls. I don't know.
But this is the series that had game 1 already played tonight. So, I would also probably say Sioux Falls too. Because Jabari Henry, let me just say, it comes in bunches for him.
What a man.
3 home run game in round 1 against City. And then he just is like, it's an elimination game. I want to go home. 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. Just like, let's keep this thing moving.
Yeah, man.
Like, he just picks the spots where he's like, I'm done with this bull.
In elimination games this postseason, he is 7 for 10 with 5 home runs and 13 RBI.
Kane County furiously taking notes. Do not get to an elimination game. If so, walk.
Terrorism. The category is terrorism. Like, what is happening?
Elimination game, Jabari Henry just needs to start getting the Barry Bonds treatment of walk him. Bases are loaded. Don't care, walk him.
I mean,
put him
Bottcher's
on.
behind him, but like Bottcher's not really doing the thing this postseason.
Yeah, so like at this point, you don't lose anything by just
Make Bottcher beat you. Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. Like right now, I'm not sure if this is exactly a fair comparison, but it's what I kind of think of. It's like in past years, kind of the Pete Alonso thing, where it's like there's a couple guys behind you that could be a problem, but like they're not as big of a problem as he is. And it's not necessarily like Alonso will always kill you. In fact, more often than not, he won't. But the problem is, if he does kill you, it's going to be a long ball. He's not going to kill you for something in the gap. It's going to be a two-bagger. No, it's going to be out of the yard. So there's situations where you just look at it and go, it's not worth that risk. Roll the dice. Because even if he's on, he's slow.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Barth and Raywald just hanging back there in that lineup, though, are so dangerous. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, Raywald is now, over the last 5 games, he is 9 for 17, hitting over 500 in those games with 3 homers, 7 RBI. So, that works.
Plus, player of the year on this team, too. We don't talk about Estrada at all.
Yeah, that's also true.
Like, at least talk to a player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he has struggled a bit in the postseason here, but 92 games, 352 average this year. I mean, yeah, that'll work. And then, struggled a bit, but he broke out tonight, 3-hit game tonight. Yeah. So watch out. Uh-oh. Straw's back. They can get you, man. They're not one to sleep on. And I think we're seeing not to write off the Jabari Henry is horrifying. But I think it's not a coincidence that he's having those big games and elimination games, because I think to navigate the Sioux Falls lineup, there's so much you have to do with your staff. There's so many competitive at-bats you need to work through. There's so, it's extra pitchers you're going to have to work through. They're probably going to light you up one game and you're going to burn some guys. And by the time you just hit the last game of a series, you're like, who are we throwing? Like, who is good to go? And this is a lineup that will punish you if you get in that position, clearly. So, I mean, hell, Sioux City shut them out and then immediately gave up 23 runs in 2 games. So, they'll do that.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess to quickly discuss it, Game 1 tonight was a close one. Falls to walk-off. 4-3 King County winner. So, that changed the dynamic a bit. They're up. They need 2 more wins to complete this. I just question their depth. It is something that I do wonder about.
Yeah, and there needs to be a consistency thing. And the problem is, if they don't have a good matchup, and we can dig into what a good matchup is or isn't at another time, they're in trouble. I mean, if you look at their 4 losses in the playoffs right now, Sioux Falls is scoring a run and a quarter per game. If you look at their 5 wins in the playoffs, they're scoring 10.2 runs per game. So if they're hitting everything. And if they're not, it's a long day. So there is something to consider with that, I think. And that could be, now King County has had a bit of a run here to figure out what exactly it is that creates a bad matchup for them. So I think that's something that they need to be, if I'm King County, I'm keeping a close eye on. Like, is there a type of pitcher that they're kind of struggling with right now? And that can push them into one of those other games that isn't them putting up a football score.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 of those games are against lefties, 2 are against righties. Thanks for the consistency, guys.
Yeah, I do wonder how it shakes out here. I wish we'd get probable starters. That would help out a lot.
Well,
I don't have too much else to really add on that. I guess for the sake of brevity here, because we have talked a decent amount about these teams in the past and whatnot, I'm still going to stick with Sioux Falls. I think they have enough in there to drag this out. And I think the longer it goes, the more I'm willing to bet that the Kane County staff doesn't come through. Now, that being said, you figure Connor Ash is good for at least 1 win. So then it becomes what happens first, right? But I question who's going to be the other one that steps up here. Miles has not looked good in either start thus far. Tampanelli hasn't really stepped up either. Fox bailed you out today. I mean, man. I mean, you could go Weston Murr, but I don't know. Stevenson's not that guy. I mean, could go a bullpen day, but I hate that thought.
I don't know that I'd open that can of worms unless I absolutely have to. I'd be more comfortable doing it if I see, I'm not the only one doing it. If we're both in that situation, it's a different conversation.
Yeah, but I just don't think we're going to hit that boat if you're Sioux Falls here. I mean, Soltar's probably not going to get another game. I don't think. If he did, it'd probably be 5.
I think we might. Yeah, I think Solter will throw again if he gets out there.
Yeah. I
mean, we've seen they're pretty liberal with using him. I mean, what's he thrown the last 3 games in a row or 3 out of the last 4? I forget now. That's on me. Don't quote me there. I can pull that.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. The point is he won't be seen again until 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's something. He threw all 3 games against Sioux City, and they started against Fargo, and then relieved against Fargo, and they started against King County. So he's been in 6 of their 9 games.
Yeah. So he is what he is at this point. But Sammer will get a start. Brown will get a start. Dormady will get a start. So that's guiding the rest of the way here. I like what Sioux Falls has to throw out in the starting group better than what Kane County can. I think their batting is going to be better overall. I'm still going to stay firm on this. I don't think one walk-off is going to change that in my eyes. I will say I think it goes 5, but Canaries in 5.
Interesting. Let's see here. I know I could see this really playing out the same way. I feel like I would be taking the same pick as you 3 times in a row. That's my problem. But I was leaning toward what I was getting to with my point about Sioux Falls wears you down, and the longer you go, the more danger you're in. I think that is, sort of my read on this. I think that they're a close enough thing where they're going to be able to push long. And I think the longer it goes, the worse news is for King County. And we talked a little bit about, as things go, again, we talked a little bit about the familiarity of the situation, how that's really important. I said, even before the show, I'm a little nervous about Sioux Falls and how, good example, Solter and the way they've been using him. It's felt a little unnecessary, putting him in late in a game they're running away with in game 5 felt weird. If they wanted to use him in game 1 next, just felt weird and unnecessary. Was it Brown or was it Solter? It doesn't matter. Their usage felt a little unnecessary. That's all. We'll leave it there. And it made me worry that could be a sign of, kind of hitting panic button occasionally, just not being comfortable in the situation. But I think when it comes down to it, if they go longer in this series, they could flip in a weird way where now they are the team who has gone to sudden death, final game of the series twice in a row. They're playing King County, who, they just did it with Fargo. But last year, they kind of walked through the playoffs, easily rolled the championship, didn't lose a game. Sioux Falls could put them on their back foot and test their depth in a way that other teams haven't. And as I said, Fargo did test King County, but I don't think Fargo is the team that Sioux Falls is. We said before, Fargo is a below average offensive team, and Sioux Falls is anything but. And I think having to find pitching for 5 games against Fargo, or against, King County played Chicago, 5 against Chicago versus 5 against Sioux Falls is a vastly different challenge. And I think Sioux Falls has the pitching to back it up. So yeah, I want to go Sioux Falls. I'm going to go in 5. Look at us. We're actually agreeing on things for once.
That. So that means we're going to be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations on your sweep, King County.
Really. Matt and Schauber, good job. You broke it all up. And Idaho Falls. What a job.
Yeah, it's funny. I really fully backtracked on my Idaho Falls take once I saw how many balls they're putting in the air with that pitching staff. And I was like, that is going to play questionably in Oakland.
So that's the bonus pod. Got a full breakdown of each of the 3 playoff leagues. Main pod, of course, will be out on Saturday. We'll probably have at least one championship, I would guess. Right by then.
Possibly. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so we'll have at least one probably to talk about. We'll break down where we're at on those, and we'll be talking some Atlantic League postseason, and hopefully nobody else self-destructs in the meanwhile. So,
right.
If you want to do plugs, we'll plug and then get out of here.
Evil Nation, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Might have a video this week. I expect this to be next week. Especially if it's dropping a random video that isn't like playoff related in the middle of a championship run. It's kind of weird. Should have some awards coming out once playoffs end for leagues. And yeah, keep it on social. I'll be more present this week. I was driving all over the place last week and last weekend, so I wasn't as available for covering stuff. But yeah, there you go.
Yes. Anyway, pod on Twitter, anyball, wherever else. I should have the American Association round recap and championship preview up today. So, because I plan to have the pod up on Tuesday. So, yeah, it should be up today. And hopefully Frontier after that, Pioneer after that. And then I still want to try to do another ballot review because I have been keeping up to date with the ranking thing.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm the only one doing that or not, but I know I am.
I have been, but I haven't. I just have not had the bandwidth to do the posting since I started this job, so I didn't want to like fully half-ass it.
Keep an eye on the YouTube. Just posting stuff there, so it's good. But yeah, we'll be back Saturday with hopefully champions to crown.
Yes, sir.
But until then, don't forget to play ball.